Hi everyone, I'm Sandra Elisa Loofbourow, the Tasting Room Director here at the Crown Royal Coffee's Lab and Tasting Room. We're continuing our series on brew methods, and today we'll talk about best practices for full immersion brewing. Full immersion brewing is where you put all of the brew water together with all of the coffee grounds all at once. It can be less work intensive, and there's an option for using a filter to strain out any grounds that might end up in your coffee. You're probably familiar with some full immersion brew devices, for example the French press or the Chezva. Clever drippers and AeroPresses or siphons are also hybrid immersion brewers that allow you to do a full immersion brew before then straining through a filter. As with all brew methods, we have several variables we need to control. There's grind size and grind consistency, water temperature, brew ratio, and particularly important for immersion brewing are agitation and contact time or total brew time. I'll talk a little more about those in a few moments. The phases for immersion brewing are pretty straightforward. First, you pour all of your brew water over all of the coffee grounds. After a certain amount of time, you agitate the coffee grounds. And when you've reached your total brew time, you decant, separating the coffee grounds from the brew water. Let's go over a few important tips for immersion brewing. The first is that we don't need to bloom these brews. Blooming will add a variable of water temperature and agitation, which will make your brews difficult to repeat. Instead, eliminate that step altogether and use all of your brew water all at once over the grounds. Another important variable for immersion brewing is agitation. Here we use a spoon or other stirring device to create agitation in the grounds with the brew water. This stir needs to be repeatable time after time, which means we need to know exactly at what point in the brew process to stir and how much and how aggressively to stir when we do. One of the most critical variables for immersion brewing is contact time. Remember, as long as your brew water is in contact with your coffee grounds, extraction will continue to occur. Therefore, the only way to halt extraction is to remove the brew water from the coffee grounds. This means decanting your brew liquor into a separate vessel. For example, when you're brewing a French press, if you want a 4-minute extraction, that means that at 4 minutes you have to pour the liquid out of the French press and separate the coffee grounds in order to halt extraction. One additional pro tip, keeping in mind that we have to decant the brew liquor in order to halt extraction, is that we can then pour that French press through a paper filter or any other filter in order to remove extra grounds and some of the siltiness, leading to a cleaner mouthfeel. This isn't required, but it can elevate your immersion brew to the next level. Thanks again for joining me to talk about immersion brewers. Remember, if you want more information, you can check out my article on understanding extraction, or you can peruse our on-demand classes, articles, and resources on Royal Coffee's website at www.royalcoffee.com. Thanks, and have a great day.